From the moment I joined as a Toastmasters, the first time I heard about this thing that we call COT, I could not detach myself from the picture of a chicken, because I'm a French speaker, and for French people, the chicken does exactly that noise. They do COT. So now I'm happy because I'm able to share this picture with you, and I know it will stick with you as well. Now that it's said, we can go to serious matters, which is the workshop itself. Count PR, do less, show up more. I have been VPPR for Lausanne for the previous Toastmasters season, and while doing the handover to the new VPPR, I realized that there was so much value that it would be a shame to just share it at the club level, so it became a code by itself. And in order to share more about it, I just need to show you some pictures just so that you know what it is. So my club is located in Switzerland. We are a more than 60 members strong club, and it's a very lively with an amazing vibe every meeting. I have the chance that as a VPPR I was able to collect a lot of data. Every guest that comes through our doors had this small thing, a QR code to scan, so that he could register as a guest. And so we could get some information. First time someone will come, we will know how this person heard about our club. And over a year, it's a lot of data, and I'm gonna share with you the result of the analysis of this data in a few minutes. During the next minutes, what we are gonna see is my vision of the minimum viable VPPR. We speak about a lot of topics. There is a lot of things we can cover. But let's speak about the essentials, the foundations, what really matters. And it will be based on the facts, the data that I told you we collected before. Then we'll go through IA. That's the trendy topic. Of course, everyone starts using it, be it good or bad. But it can have some damage. It can cause some damage depending on the way we use it. So it's really a topic that is important to address. And then, in the third part, we will go into a hands-on about creating content, writing posts using IA to facilitate the whole process. And same, I developed some kind of workflow that I will share with you so that it becomes easier to get started with. At the end, we will have 15 minutes for questions and so on. So if you have a burning question, don't hesitate. I will give you some time between the different sections so that we can have quick questions. But if there is a huge topic, maybe write it down and then we will address it at the end. Thanks. Let's get started. The minimum viable VPPR. If I had to resume it very simply, there is only two goals for this role. The first one is to attract guests. It's to make the club known so that people can realize we are there and they can visit us. And the second one is to reduce turnover, because even if we help to get the club known, we also are the voice of the club. We are the voice that defines also the culture of the club, the members, and if communicated properly, it enforces it and it makes sure that people still are happy to come and stay, and we reduce the turnover at the end. In order to do that, we can have a lot of tools. I did not list all of them, but there is a bunch of them that you can see there. So there is Google, website, social medias, and to communicate, you have a lot of different tools. You can share the events, you can write, you can create pictures, you can send newsletter, a bunch of things. Of course, if you try to do it, to do everything, you might kind of burn out, because that's a lot to do. Out of all these tools, for Lausanne, we are using only a bunch of them. So we have a website, we have a Google profile, LinkedIn, Instagram as social medias, and we don't really, let me just check something very quickly. Whoops. Okay, we should be good. Even if we can do a lot, we limit ourselves to providing events and writing posts. And then at the end, we measure them. So we retrieve data, we retrieve information on how well it performed so that we can then iterate over them. Now, the part that is really interesting. Over the year, on the Lausanne Club, we had 200 visits. Out of these 200 visits, we had 143 unique guests. And for most of them, we were able to get the information on how they heard about us. Since this form started at the beginning of the season, you can see that we had very few informations on the second quarter of 2025, but basically we have a pretty strong number of guests every quarter. Out of all of them, the main attraction point that led people to get to hear about us and to visit us is not technology, is not digital, is not online tools. In fact, it's word of mouth. It's the fact that people speak around them about how great the club is. 51% of the guests told us that they found us thanks to that. No campaign, no budget, no algorithm, people talking. That's it. And I think as a VPPR, it's important to keep that in mind. The half of the work can be done just if you make sure that your members are involved in the communication of the club. If we look after the other things, there is online church. People were looking on Google and they found us thanks to our website, thanks to Google. We have a Google business profile which helps to find our club. And then we have Meetup and afterwards a lot of other things. What's interesting there is that we spend a lot of effort in social medias. We spend a lot of effort creating flyers, creating posters, making sure that we are always up to date, sharing news, and yet only 4% of the people found us thanks to that. Quite interesting. Based on all of that, here is some prioritization, because out of all the things you can do, some of them bring more value for less effort. So I'd really say sensitivize your members to, if they like the club, to speak about it with them. And then low effort is really about putting up everything related to online church. I would really recommend, if it's not already the case, to look if your club has a Google business profile. And if it does not yet, check how to do it, because that's the best income of guests for you. And then if you have a website, it helps, of course, because then you can reference them together. But the Google business profile is really top tier about what to do first. Meetup is low effort. So Meetup is a platform where we can put our events. We have a club profile there, and then we can put all our events. So people, if they look there, they are able to find us if they are looking for events that happen around the town. For example, they are looking for gatherings in Lausanne, which is where our club is. We are gonna appear there. And it's low effort because it's something you do once or twice per year, because you just put your whole agenda there and then done, you don't have to think anymore about it. Oops. Now, if we look at what changed over the years, there is one small thing that appeared which was quite interesting. Meetup, that I was talking about just before, it went silent. We had a bunch of guests in the past, and starting 2026, silent. Nothing happened. I will come back to that just after, but that metric is quite good. And then IA, for the first time this year, we finally had some guests telling us that they found us thanks to IA, speaking with ChatGPT, with Claude, trying to improve about public speaking, and then the IA will say, hey, why don't you look for Toastmasters? You have a club around you. Oh, cool. So it starts. By the way, I did not do anything about it. I did not research about how to be visible on IA. We are just as we are with the Google profile, with the social medias, and thanks to that we are already visible in IA. So I won't be able to tell you how to improve this part, but it seems like it comes naturally if the other parts are covered. One thing about Meetup. if you have an account in there, there is one super important thing you need to know. There is 2 actions, 2 steps in creating events in Meetup. The first one is to create it, and the second one is to publish it. The difference is you can create an event without publishing it. If you do so, you are able to see it, and if people visit your Meetup page, they will be able to see your event. But people won't see your events outside of your club page. That means you are not using perfectly the whole algorithm and the search engine of the platform. And what happened is, in fact, in 2026, I created all the events, but I forgot to push publish button. Yep, happens. Of course, we always get better, and that was my mistake, and metrics show me, you forgot something, okay? So if you pay a subscription for Meetup, don't do the same mistake as I do, push this button. It's really important. With that said, if we sum up what we saw before, for me there is 3 levels. The foundations of any club visibility comes from Google Business Profile and club website. Those are the most priority things to handle. If you don't look for the social medias. Don't try to don't spend your time writing posts. As you saw before, the stats show by themselves. That's not the first thing to do. It's just a nice thing. So foundations first, Google Profile. And then level 2 is the events. Show when you are gathering, publish the dates, and make sure you press the publish button so that people have visibility. And only then, once the level 1 and 2 are clear, only then you can look into social medias, in how to communicate more about the news of the club and so on. That's great. But like I said, level 3, make sure to clear the previous one before that. This is information I got thanks to data from last year to this year. Of course, it's based on the tools we use. It's our reality for this year, but it will keep evolving. There might be new tools and the algorithms are gonna change and the trends change. So one thing which is super cool to do once you clear level 1 and 2, in fact, is to start looking into how to gather data. Analytics. You have Google Analytics that can give you information on how many people saw your profile over the month, that can give you information on how many people and what kind of people are visiting your website. You can even put advanced tools that can help you to know if you have a website, which page they visit, which part of the website they are looking for. You can have very specific information. And then look for consistency, because creating content is great, but if you create it and then you forget your account for 6 months, it doesn't help. It's more about consistency so that you have people that know that you are coming regularly and they will look for you as well. Okay, that was the part about the essentials. Up to this point, do you have a burning question, or shall we go directly to the IA part? Directly to the IA part? All right, excellent.
Yeah.
And Laura, please.
Are we going? Can you share with us this presentation? Or
yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, you will have the resources at the end. I will create an email with all the things. You will have everything.
Very interesting. Great job.
You explained so clearly that there are no questions.
Alvaro, can I ask a little question?
Yes, of course. Tell me.
Did you get your Google profile verified, and how did you go about doing that? Do you have a location that is under your name that you can show on the video for Google Business to get verified?
On that part, while I'm suggesting to look into that, in fact, when I became VPPR of Lausanne, I was lucky to have it already on place. It was already settled. So I could not tell you how it's configured, but I know for sure that Laura is looking to planify a cut about this specific topic. So once it's scheduled, you will hear about it.
Okay, great. Because we were, I think before they had the verification, process that they now have. We created a Google business page for our club, but the problem was that we changed address, we changed venue. And now we're not able to change the venue without doing the verification process, which is, it's a complicated thing because you have to show that you are the owner of the business that is in that address, which of course we can't do because we're just using a common space. So anyway, Laura, put that in your to-do list, please. We'll figure that one out. Thank you.
I think it was Laura that was raising hand first. Oh, no, it was Christina. My bad. It was Christina. Please tell me. If you have a question, Christine, we can't hear you.
Okay, very quickly, no, simply I agree that the setting up the Google business profile is very productive. It's something that, at least in the area where I come from Division A, we tried to do, adding on that also Google Map, which brings a lot of guests.
Excellent.
And there are a number of rules to do well, sort of using Google Map well. So I'm very happy that there's going to be a sort of, as you were saying, a workshop on this.
So just for my own knowledge, you can have a business profile without appearing in the maps, Christina? It's two separate things?
Sorry?
Is it two separate things to appear as a Google business profile and to appear in Google Maps?
Yeah.
All right. I was not aware of that. Thank you. Elena. We can't hear you.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I also have a question in relation with the Google business profile, because I guess that you put the address where you have the meetings, right? But that address, at least in our case, is a room that we rent. So it's not a bit confusing to say that you, I mean, that our Toastmasters club is there like permanently in the business, in the Google business profile, or is there any option to mention that is, I mean, to give more explanations that that's happening twice a month and it's not a permanent location?
In our club, we also rent a room and we put this address. It's perfectly fine even if it's renting. And if at some point we change venue, we will just update the profile.
Okay.
So
and in the
that's not
schedule, I
necessarily
guess
an
that,
issue.
okay, I guess that in the schedule you mentioned that it's just twice a month and it's not permanently open, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And in
Okay.
the hours, I put just the hours of the meeting. So we are there the
Okay.
Wednesday night. The rest of the time
Okay.
it's right and closed.
Okay, thank you very much for the
You're welcome.
answer.
All right, let's get started on the second part. IA, ally or liability. Like I said before, a trendy tool, everyone wants to use it. But if we use it and we don't think enough about it, maybe it's gonna cause more harm than anything else. So in order to illustrate that, I just wanted to show you something that might look a little familiar. This, by the way, is not taken from a club. It's something I prepared for tonight. No finger pointing, no representation of reality. I just want you to read this text and to see if there is some things in there that smell a little wrong, you know? And if you want to share, please open your mic and tell me what's wrong with it.
You have the dash in the third paragraph. That is clearly from AI.
The biggest
Too many
of all,
icons. Some people will
Yeah, all the
complain.
emoji. Yeah.
Emojis are cool, but when there are too many, it's Then you have the two asterisks in the title.
True. Like everything cool in life, right? It's always a thing about balance. If you put too much cool things, then it's not cool anymore.
I'm gonna say it this way: the rule of three.
The
AI always uses in three, like build confidence, enhance leadership, foster community. It's always in threes. It never does like 1, 2, or 5. It's always in 3.
That's
Interesting.
only natural because the rule of three is for the universe.
Not always. Not always.
Okay, so you
It's a
got a few
challenge for
points.
you.
So indeed, there is at least the formatting, which is not good. You can see some kind of markdown syntax with the asterisk that appears, and we have a bunch of other things. So I just wrote it there, the things that trigger us intuitively, even if you don't name them. And I'd like you to name them because it helps to recognize them and also to avoid them whenever you create content, because that's obvious. So the markdown, the M dash everywhere emoji on every sentence, language that can be super exaggerated. I know that Toastmasters have a super rich vocabulary, but still, when you look at that post and you read it, if the vocabulary is exaggerated, then maybe you are losing people at the same time. And then nobody talk about it, but what you read before, there was no specifics, no information. You read it and you didn't learn anything out of it. It was generic. And a lot of posts are like that, simply because they don't have more context. IA is good at creating a good shape, but if you don't give it enough context, enough content, then it's gonna stay super generic, and at the end of the day, you didn't bring value for the people that read it. And then I just showed text, but usually the posts are also accompanied with an image that is built with IA. And this specific part, I'm not gonna dive into it, but just be careful. You have an idea, but if you just give it like that to IA, it's gonna build super clumsy visual with a lot of information. And at the end of the day, if you show it to someone, he won't be able to catch the message. It's the same as a Toastmaster speech. If you try to put too much messages, or even more than one message in fact in your speech, you might lose your audience. It's the same with the visuals, it's the same with the text as well. And based on that, I just wanted to ask a question, but maybe you won't dare to answer because Laura is there, but I just wanted to ask, how satisfied are you with the Toastmasters content you scroll past? Because there is a lot in the social medias, and like anything else, a lot of people is currently using a bunch of IA. Some are doing really good, a lot are doing the contrary. Tell me, Amber, what's your point on it?
About the content, it's so important that we double check the meaning of certain words, because I'm very snarky about it. I must confess I'm snarky, because very often there are things that are written that mean the exact opposite in English as what they mean in the original language. So we have to be super careful to reconsider that multiple times. I'm not going into any specifics. There you go. Back to you.
This is not even related to IA, in fact. It's just about using a translator and forgetting to double check that what you translated still keeps the original meaning. But thank you, that's a great advice.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not, I have my own thoughts as well, right? I see Toastmasters content, not only my district. Look, it's honestly like, at least on LinkedIn, sometimes it's not even brand compliant. That's what I will say. You can see it's AI if it's hard. But second of all, sometimes it's just like you're talking too much. You're telling too much. I don't need to read the whole story, because it gives like this much. Maybe you can say it in this much, and then you're able to sell it a lot better in a lot shorter as well.
Absolutely.
More is not always better,
Yeah. Well, less is more, in fact. We say it a lot, huh?
That's true.
But
That's
it's
true. That's very true.
It's so easy to create a lot of content. We want to give more. But do we really do that? Not always.
Yeah, no, I'm very much in favor of say only what you need to say, minimalism.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, so going to the pictures, I'm not gonna dive into picture creation, but just a few things about it. Make sure that if you create content, you avoid the visual clutter that comes from too many elements, and like I said before, your message is not clear, it's lost in the background. And if you give too little context, that's how it happens, because it becomes generic and it tries to put your idea repeated a lot of different times. But in fact, if there is one thing I'd like you to remember from this code, please, pretty please, don't ask the IA to use real people picture to create something. I know it's a great temptation. You can gain a lot of time from doing it. But the thing is, IA cannot resist the temptation of editing the picture you give to the IA. And if you want to do a simple, a simple montage, just use a tool like Canva and do superposition. You know, you put the real photo and then some text on top of it, and it does wonders. But the thing is, if you give to IA real people pictures, what's going to happen is that the people are going to be distorted. The faces, the hands, that's going to scream IA generated. In fact, if it's your picture that you see in social medias, at first you might not even recognize yourself. I lived that. So I tell you, it's not a good idea. It takes a lot of time to build trust, and it takes just a picture to break it. So make sure that if you use IA, don't feed it with real people pictures. Thank you very much. Okay, up to this point, I gave a lot of arguments against IA. Of course, that's not the goal of the code. I appreciate IA a lot. I use it on a daily basis, even at my work. And there is great content that can be produced with it if it's properly driven. Again, I'm not gonna dive into how to create the pictures, but I just wanted to give you an amazing example that I saw from a Greek club. These ones. And those are, for me, the most beautiful flyers I saw created at this point. Laura, tell me.
You want to know the secret?
Tell me.
It's a good resource. This is our PR manager, public relations manager, Yanis, the whole district. He's the one who makes these. This is his own club.
Yeah, excellent. So we can expect a lot of amazing content in the next month then.
And he's here to help the whole district as well.
Amazing. Thank you. So you can see the brand is respected. There might not even be a lot of time involved in creating this. Message is clear. That's clean. So yeah, I just wanted to drop it there. You will have it in the resource afterwards. And if you want to share some love with the creators, with the Athens Club, please do. Please share a word of love with them, because that's amazing what they do. Okay, with that said, IA, there is 3 ways to work with it. The first one is automation. So basically, you give it job and you take the output and the job is done. Okay. You make it generate something, you drop it in the social media. Very fast, very efficient. But that's also the fastest way to lose trust. IA is there and can create fast content, but if you're not there to review it, that might be the beginning of the loss. So I recommend to go into augmentation, which means you give context, IA produces a draft, it helps you to get started, but you are the captain on board. You are the one that has the last word, that has the last say on what is good or not. And you need to challenge it until it really reaches the shape you'd like to share, the shape you'd be proud of. And then there is one that I put, which is the third, which is agentic, where you are able to express what you'd like in such a clear way that you can delegate this work and have a team of agents that are working together. That's like the high level maybe, or DPM, or GPM will be able to do this kind of stuff. I'm not at this level yet, it's just to say it exists. And I'd be super interested to know if one of you use it, in fact. Meanwhile, one message which is super important, IA is not your substitute. It's not there to replace you. It's an assistant. You are the master on board, and the content that you create without putting your soul, your heart, your experience in it is just gonna be soulless. It's gonna be lifeless, and in fact it will be blank. So super cool, great shape, but at the end of the day, it's lost. Okay. That was about IA, ally, or liability. Now that it's said, I propose you to dive into the hands-on. So I wrote a bunch of posts for Lausanne. In fact, I was trying to write one post per month, so not even that hard in the rhythm, one per month. And I applied a bunch of theories that I had since it's been 2 or 3 years that I write in LinkedIn in a personal way, and I see what works, what does not. Out of it, I developed some kind of strategy, a method that I apply in every post I created for the club, which is the 3C. That's the strategy I shared to my club already that I applied during the whole year, and it relies on 3 pillars, which are credit, celebrate, and community. Whenever I was writing a post, I tried to check at least 2 of them, and at best 3. The best post I did over the years systematically had the 3 of them. Why? You are on social media, you scroll. Of course, there is people that will complain, but what you like to see is great news, right? People that announce, I have a new job, I have a promotion, and so on. In Toastmasters, you can credit the growth, the effort, the accomplishment, someone that validates a level, a new icebreaker, the fact that your club is distinguished smoothly, a club anniversary. There is a lot of things you can credit, celebrate, and it gathers people, everyone, it gives credit to the members, so it also shows that they matter to the club. And because of that, it helps to make people want to keep part, to stay a part of this club. And the community, I mean, we are officers, of course, but what are the officers if there is no members? The club is the art, the community is the art. So that's about putting the highlight on the people that matter, the members. That's my basic strategy. And then I applied it with IA and tried to see how it works or it does not. So I'm going to share with you a link. I'm going to put it in the chat so that you can access it. There. In there, you are going to find a system prompt. What is it? It's a prompt you can use to introduce your context. There is 2 ways you could use it. You can just copy-paste it at the beginning of any conversation, and it's going to drive the IA in a direction that you can follow to create the content. Or you can create a project. If I show you, for example, very quickly, I'm going into Claude, which is the IA I use. You can see there that I have a project, which is VPPR, content creation, blah, blah, blah. And when you create a project in this IA, there is a thing that you can put, which is called instructions. And in the instructions, you can give a set of information that it's going to follow systematically each time you start a new conversation with it. If you never did so before, I'd recommend you to create a project from scratch and you give the system prompt I gave you in there. You will see it's quite interesting to do. In the system prompt I shared with you, there is a part which is called the club context. So it's gonna, you will need to fill it, right? Because I did it for Lausanne, but of course you need to change the context to fit your club, your language, what's the vibe of your club, so that it has some basic information about what kind of tone, what kind of message you'd like to share at the beginning. It's gonna help a long way. And then, what I do each time I use this system prompt, or pretty much that, because I generated it only during the handover. In fact, this is an extract of the process I use whenever I create a post. It's that I feed it a lot of context. I share my story, like you will do an impromptu pitch. I share my story, I don't think about anything, and I tell it, okay, give me a few hints about the angles you could help me with. A warm one, a one human-centered, a one more into result-oriented, this kind of thing. It's gonna propose different angles. And once you select the angle, it's gonna create a draft. So it's already going in the trajectory that you decided. And then you need to apply your voice, because of course it's IA. The more you work with it, the more it knows you, so it's gonna be able to be even more accurate. But meanwhile, like I said before, it's just an assistant. You are the captain, so you need to make sure that it's your voice that is applied, that there is no blank message that is put in it. So with that said, I'm gonna propose you to show you this in live. You have two options. Either you have multiple screens and you can play it at the same time as I do, or you can just enjoy the show and I'm gonna try to make a post and we'll see how it goes. In order to do that, whoops. Yeah, so this is the instructions in case you'd like to do it on your side. So just open your IA tool of choice, you put the system prompt in it, and then you follow the steps. It's gonna guide you. Meanwhile, I'm gonna do the same on my side. Okay. So I'm in Claude. You can do it with any kind of tool, it's fine. And I go into incognito mode, which means that it's not taking into account all the memory it already has of me, because of course otherwise there is a bias about the exercise itself. I'm just gonna take my own system prompt, which is already filled with the information of Lausanne. So that's what I showed you just before. I'm pasting it so that it's thinking about it pretty quickly. And then we'll start from what you should have as well, because that's the kind of answer it will give to you as well. Maybe not saying bonjour. It's playing with the fact that I'm writing between French and English, so yeah. As you can see, it's making a few propositions, what happened, insight, language. It's already asking me a few questions, which permit to drive the conversation. Either you write, or you can speak. Since we are in this workshop, and it's best to avoid the silence, I will go with the vocal thing and we'll see if it works properly. I'm gonna spend maybe 2 minutes to do an impromptu idea dumping about what happens at the club to see what it offers to do, okay? We have a 60 member strong club. This is amazing, but at the same time, there is a huge issue that comes with it. It's the speaking opportunities, because of course, we have a lot of people that want to speak and we need slots to put them, right? We have currently 3 meetings a month, 2 in English, 1 in French, which means 9 prepared speech per month. In order to help the members have more opportunity to give prepared speech as well as support roles, we are currently opening a 4th meeting per month, which will be the first Wednesday of each month. This will happen starting October, and we are very happy to welcome our French members in this session. That will allow us to have 2 French meetings and 2 English meetings per month. Okay, so I'm just sharing this, sending it, and we'll see how it goes. And it already finger pointed the most important thing. Of course, we are putting facts, but in order to reach the people, you need also some emotions, and I didn't provide any in what I did just before. So there is a first issue. But in any case, as you can see, there is some interrogation, and what I like with this tool is that you can answer with some kind of drop-down or multi-selection. So I'm just gonna say I want it in English. The audience is gonna be the club community. The tone is gonna be vulnerable, honest, because that's the way I want it to go. And the length, I'd like it to be medium, so 250 words. Okay. And I'm gonna add a specific story without saying a name, because it needs to be correct, so that it helps to illustrate the thing. During a division contest, we had a member doing test speaking, and during the interview, that person explained that what motivated her to go into the contest as a test speaker was to get an opportunity that person could not have at our club. This rings a bell. This was a clear signal that we had to change something. And it's a feedback which is quite difficult to get, because in fact no members complained about the difficulty to find a speech opportunity until now. Let's see if this helps to construct something. Okay. So there is one point which is very important about posts. You have a text, but in your text, the only thing that appears in the social medias are the 2 or first 3 lines. And then the people say, show more if they are interested. So that part is what we call a hook. And if the hook doesn't have attention or doesn't bring the curiosity, then people are just gonna keep scrolling and it's not gonna stop them. So one very important point is the hook. So let's say, no one at our club ever told us they could not find a speaking slot. Someone just left to find one somewhere else. This is quite cool. It rings a bell. It's like, what is this story, right? And the second one, she stood up at a division contest as a test speaker, not for the stage, for the opportunity our club could not give her. This one is strong as well. But the problem with this one is, at club level, everyone is gonna recognize who I'm speaking about. And I said I do not want to finger point, right? So maybe go for hook A. Let's see. No one at our club ever told us they could not find a speaking slot. Someone just left to find one somewhere else. We found out at division contest, a member was speaking as a test speaker. I fill a role, not even a real contestant. In the interview after, she said why she signed up. It was the only stage she could get. We have 60 members, 3 meetings a month, 9 prepared slot speeches in total. Do the math, and the bottleneck is obvious, but nobody had complained, not once. We thought quiet meant fine. It did not. It meant people were finding their opportunities elsewhere quickly without ever telling us why. That's the part that stayed with me. Silence isn't the same as satisfaction. Sometimes it's just people solving the problem themselves without waiting for you to notice. So we are opening our 4th meeting, starting in October every first Wednesday. And this one's in French, which means we go from 1 French meeting a month to 2. More slots, more stage, fewer members, quickly looking elsewhere for the chance to speak. And I keep coming back to her at that contest, doing a role that wasn't really hers to get 5 minutes she couldn't get at home. What signals are you missing because no one's complaining? Well, I don't know how you feel about these posts, but it feels kinda good. There is vulnerability, there is honesty, there is a sharing of something which is not comfortable, and yet instead of trying to hide it, we are learning from it and we are growing out of it. And thanks to this, we are announcing that there is a new post, a new meeting per month. That's the kind of thing you can have with the system prompt I provided you. And of course, we can iterate over it. For example, there is text which is quite heavy. I mean, we have 3 lines each time, 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines, so it's a heavy text. It will be worthy to spend some time just to put some spaces, put more blank lines, make sure that there is short sentences as well to make a rhythm variation like you will do in a speech, because for me, speech and writing are pretty close as a skill. Yeah, so that's my example. I'm not gonna iterate more over this example because for me it's already quite amazing, in fact. And the more you use it, the more accurate it becomes. But I hope that this demo was able to show you the kind of thing you can achieve quickly with the good prompt. With that said, I'm going back to the presentation and I'd like to go for a conclusion. If there is one thing you'd like to know as a VPPR in order to stay calm, it's to prioritize. You don't need to do everything. And when I share about the system prompt thing, it's the cherry on the cake. It's not the foundations, right? So make sure that you stay aware that the first channel to attract guests is word of mouth, because it goes a long way into the strategy you can use at club level. And then going away is great, but if you go the wrong way and you have no data, then you are gonna keep going the wrong way, and that's kind of sad, right? So if we're able to try to put some analytics, some things to retrieve information, do like our clubs, like without considering huge tools, maybe put a form to your guests so that you can know how did you knew us, how did you heard about us. And with that said, to go further, I have some resources I'm gonna share just after this meeting with the brand manual, a Canva template that helps to create visuals without feeding IA the picture of real people. And there is a QR code which is there that I will provide you as well, which is a WhatsApp group I created for the occasion. If there is some topics you'd like to come back, discussions you'd like to have, please join this group. It's just for Discord, and we already have the people from last week that joined, that shared a bunch of things which are super interesting, and I'd be glad to see you on board and to hear about your own stories. Thank you. I'm reaching the end of everything I had to say. I'm sharing in the chat a small link, which is a feedback form. It takes 2 minutes to feed it, and if you do, that will be amazing, because of course, instead of a physical cut where you get to speak with everyone is mute currently, the mics are still cut, so I'm unable to know, did you like it, did you not? So this feedback form is a way for me to know that. Thank you very much. And we still have a few more minutes, so if you'd like to open the mics, if you want to ask any kind of questions, or just share a story of yours, please be my guest.
Maybe just, oh, sorry, I did not raise my hand. Maybe just one quick question. Which model do you prefer? Can you recommend it? Did I see this correctly? You had Sonnet 5, that's quite pricey and new.
Sorry, say again?
Which model do you recommend, which is good enough to fit the purposes that we are doing here? And I also saw Sonnet 5 in your prompts. Is that right? That's new and pricey.
I'm just going with Sonnet, in fact. I'm going with Claude. I'm using Sonnet model. And in fact, I was in the free tier of the IA. I never paid until last week. And the only reason why I paid is because I wanted to generate the slides I'm showing you right now. And when I made it generate, then IA said, you don't have any more tokens. So I put my card on the table. Thank you. Laura, do you want to share?
Yes. Okay. So I have a question. The text that you generated in AI are text then that you publish. Where do you share these texts? Sorry, I missed this.
This text, good point, thank you for asking. This is a post that I'm gonna share afterwards on LinkedIn in our club social page in LinkedIn.
Okay.
And that will be my last post for the club, in fact, because I'm not the PR anymore. So they are kindly keeping me with the tools until the end of the call. But yeah, that's for LinkedIn.
Okay. And so you, like the use of AI is to shorten the time to create a post, right?
Yes.
It's for this. And then you have some issue, the AI creates you the text and you do it better, you create a better post and then you publish, right?
Yes. So that's basically the same thing you will have for a speech. You can have a lot of ideas about speaking, about a speech.
I do it actually.
But it's complicated sometimes to translate your idea to a speech structure which is valid. And that's the same for social media. So that's just a way to simplify this transition from idea to post.
And how long does it take to, I mean, how much time you spent on this kind of role during the week, the day, just to have an idea?
It's kind of difficult to say because it really depends on the periods. There are some periods where there is quite nothing happening, so it's quite easy. And then, for example, at the very beginning, when you take the role, of course, there is going to be a overload because you need to get to know the different tools, what you need to do, and to set up the agenda. So there is a peak of activity at the beginning of the season because you need to set up all the agenda and so on. And once you roll, it's good. The part about creating content at the very beginning, depending on the post I wanted to do, it will take me 2 hours to get a post done. Nowadays, it's more like 15, 20 minutes. It all depends about how much clarity I have about the message I want to share.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
What about assistants? Did you have any assistant or did you work on your own all the time? Well, obviously you had Claude as an assistant, but I was wondering if you had other members in the team.
No, I tried to. That was one of my projects, but it didn't work well because when I shared with you the part about the 3 Cs with the community and so on, I presented this strategy with my club. And in fact, I wanted people to be more involved if they wanted. So I kept the doors open if someone has an idea or want to contribute a post. The doors were open, but no one really exploited it. So I did it all by myself during the year. Amber.
I have a silly question. You said something about Claude. I don't really know Claude very much. I have huge fights with the Google AI because it tells me a lot of lies. But apart from that, you were talking about a sonnet model. Could you please explain a little bit more about that?
Of course. So if you go back there, you can see on Claude there is multiple models. So I'm using Sonnet, which is this one. It's the most efficient for everyday tasks. That's a average model. Depending on the model you use, it's gonna compute more or less. It's gonna burn a lot of credits, so you will be out of credits faster or slower. In fact, if you don't pay, by default, you only have access, if I remember properly, to Sonnet. So that will be your go-to solution. And for most questions, it's good enough, even more than good enough.
Okay. If you do not pay, you still have Sonnet.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
and
thank
like
you.
I said, for every post I write it until now, I was in the free, I didn't pay anything and it was great. I had no issue.
By the time you run out of credit, is there a time that that those credits build back, or are you blocked for life?
Oh, no. The credits, it's like you have a daily limit and then you have a weekly limit.
Okay.
So you need to burn like 3 days of weekly limit to reach your 3 days of daily limit to reach the weekly one. So, like I said, I was not even reaching the daily limit whenever I was writing posts. It needed more intensive situations. An example will be a contest speech. I was working with Claude to brainstorm about the idea, to help me structurate how to share the idea, what to refine and so on, and it went really deep. And then my tokens will be starting to burn.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. So meanwhile, what I could do is to show with you just this part. That's a very simple form, but this is what we ask the guests to fill whenever they reach our club. So we have a QR code, they scan it, they reach this part, and then they fill this form, okay? And they say if it's the first, second, or third time that they visit. And if it's the first one, they are gonna go to something that say, hey, how did you hear about us? That's how we got the data that I showed to you at the beginning of the meeting. So it's quite valuable. And it's a free text, so people write anything in there, right? So we have more than 200 visitors. It takes a lot of time to look at it. Thankfully, there is the IA now. And what I did about it is I took all the results. I did some changes of the file so that the names, the phone, the mail address don't appear, so that it's clean. And then I gave it to the IA so that it's able to understand the text that was written there and was able to give statistics. And this really changed the things. If you'd like to keep discussing, don't hesitate to join the WhatsApp group. I'd be super happy to hear about your success stories, or not even success stories, right? Because we learn more about mistakes than success anyway. Thank you. Have a good evening and see you soon.